What is going on, guys? Chris here and welcome back to another video. Here I have a brand new stickerless Guoguang Yu Xiao. I got this yesterday and I've done about 50 solves on it just to get the plastic moving, just to break it in a little. So what we're going to be doing is disassembling this and setting it up and lubricating it just like a speed cube. What you need for this video is, of course, the cube that you want to lubricate, a screwdriver, and then of course some lubricant. So the first step of this process is to disassemble your 3x3 completely. That is to remove all of the pieces, including the center caps, from the core. Okay, so here are all of the pieces. As you can see, we have the core here. The puzzle has been completely disassembled now and there is basically nothing left. You're going to want to take the hardware out of the center caps, that is the screws, washers and springs, and you're just going to want to set them aside for the time being. Most 3x3s nowadays come with some kind of factory lubricant, so what you're going to want to do before you lubricate this puzzle is just wipe off any of this lubricant from the pieces. So just go through each piece, give it a bit of a rub down until all the lubricant has gone. Okay, so once you've successfully wiped down all of the pieces, you're obviously going to want to start reassembling the puzzle. But what we do here is we lubricate the springs and screws as we are assembling the core, and this stops that springy sound whenever you are turning a 3x3 face. When lubricating the hardware, that is the screws and springs in your centerpieces, it's very important that you use quite a high viscosity lubricant. For this tutorial I'm using the Let's Cube It Speed Lube Weight 4. So what you are going to want to do is lubricate the centerpiece where the washer meets the plastic, and on the Yu Xiao it is just down in here. So what you're going to want to do is just get a little bit of lubricant out of the nozzle, just a tiny little bit, and then just mix it around on the inside of the centerpiece. You don't need very much, a little bit of lubricant will go a very long way. So just put it on in there and that's that done. Then you want to get your washer and find the rough side. The rough side is going to be facing up when you place the washer into the centerpiece. Then what you do is you get another tiny little bit of lubricant and just pop it on the top. And again, this is going to stop that springy sound when the springs are connecting to the washers. From there you just pop in the spring and then the screw on top of that, and your centerpiece is ready to go into the core. Of course you want to do this for all 6 of your centerpieces, so let's do that now. Okay, so once you have done all 6 of your centerpieces, the next step is to assemble the core. It is super easy to just screw in the pieces. What you want to make sure of is that all of your centerpieces are about the same length into the core. With the Yu Xiao, if you can see on the screw there, we have a certain amount of screw that can go into the core, and if you get them about the same length on each centerpiece, you'll have pretty consistent tensions. It's very important at this stage to make sure you have consistent tensions on all of the centerpieces. It will make it a lot easier once you have assembled the puzzle to get your speed cubing tensions. Okay, and so once you have assembled the core, you are just going to want to double check how your tensions are doing. Just check the length of the screw going into the core, and if they all seem pretty consistent, you are good to go and assemble the cube. As I said before, with regard to lubricating hardware, you're going to want to use a high viscosity lubricant. For the actual pieces themselves, you're going to want to turn it down a notch and use something a bit lighter. I'm using Weight 1 Let's Cube It lubricant here. That's going to make the cube nice and fast for me. Aside from the centerpieces, I actually only lubricate 6 different pieces on the cube, and that is the first and the last 3. The first thing I do is I just pop in the first edge and I have a look at exactly where the contact points are with the centerpieces. So as you can see, the main contact points we have here are along the sides and then just underneath the centerpiece. So what I'm going to do in that case is just apply a little line of lubricant exactly where we had that contact. So just along the side where we touch the centerpiece and then underneath. So as you can see, we have lubricated now exactly where this edge piece touches the center, and we're going to do the same for the corner. I just pick up a corner here and I just look for the main contact points. So we have underneath the torpedo here and then along this side. So what I'm going to do there is again just apply a little bit of lubricant along the side and then underneath the torpedo. If we then put this corner on, it should just stick to it, and hopefully that is enough lubricant for half of the cube. So then of course your next step is going to be to assemble the pieces that you've just lubricated. So this edge piece is going to lubricate all of the other pieces. So obviously we've got it against that center, and then when we slide in this corner here, it's also going to lubricate that for us. So by lubricating one piece, we've actually lubricated this center and also this corner, and once we start turning, all of the contact points are going to be covered. From here you are just going to want to assemble the rest of the cube up until the last three pieces. Okay, so as you can see here, we are down to our last three pieces. So we've already lubricated three pieces down at the bottom, but we want to add a little bit more at the top just to get the juices flowing. Most cubes will have a little ring on the inside of the mechanism just down here, and what you're going to want to do is just apply a little bit of lubricant to that little ring down here and then up here as well. It's very important to remember that a little bit of lubricant does go a long way on a 3x3, so do use it sparingly. Then add in the final three pieces and your cube is done. Of course you're going to want to work in the lubricant as quickly as possible, so just give it a good few turns. With regard to tension in the puzzle, you should have pretty consistent tensions already, so if you screw all of the faces an equal amount, you should get a nice even spread on the faces. So once you've tensioned the puzzle, you're going to want to give it a good few turns, maybe do a few practice solves, and just make sure you've got the good tensions before you put the centerpieces back on. If you do need to adjust it, it's no problem. Again, just make sure you're pretty consistent across the cube so you don't get uneven faces. Once you are happy with the tensions, just pop on your center caps and you should be good to go. And the final step is to get your cloth and just wipe down all faces of the 3x3. Once you've finished that, you are good to go and you are ready to go and get some personal bests at a competition. Alright guys, so that is how I set up and lubricate a speed cube using kind of a method that I made myself. Obviously it's kind of standard to put the springs in and lubricate the washers and that, but the way that I apply it to just one of the pieces and then a few at the top, that's kind of my idea of not over lubricating it but not under lubricating it. The lube will get around the cube really quickly and make it as fast as you want it to be. If you have enjoyed this video though guys, remember to leave a like, leave a comment below and let me know how you set up a speed cube, and then of course subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.